Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com, and in this video we're looking at a brand new updated model from Tissot at 39mm with the Chemin de Tourelles. Really excited to reveal these today. So in this video and on this channel, we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as a full authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on these timepieces, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout this video, if you have further questions, we'll have links in the description down below to the product pages where you can also purchase the watch. But guys, let's jump into the video and take a closer look at these new watches from Tissot. Over the last several years, Tissot has essentially reached new heights off the backs of some amazing design pieces and new models. You look at the Gentleman, as well as, of course, the PRX. But here today, we look at a new model, at least refreshed model, from a collection that has been within Tissot's wider catalog for some time, the Chemin de Tourelles, a collection named for the street Tissot was founded on, but here with some great updates and some remarkable finishing for the price. And I think going forward, this could be the next pillar of their collection of attainable Swiss watches. And today we're going to be looking at their new 39mm options. Now, starting with a conversation on the wearing experience presented by the new Chemin de Tourelles, it's important to begin that there are actually 3 different sizes for this collection now: 34mm, 42mm, and this mid-size right in the middle of 39mm, which for myself and I think many people watching might be the preferred size. Compared to the previous generation of this model family, the case has also been redesigned for comfort and aesthetics. Now, the 39mm variant offers a restrained lug-to-lug of only 43.7mm, paired with a slender height of 11.5mm, even considering the dome sapphire crystal. Given the real estate being occupied by the dial with this slender bezel, the watch wears pretty true to size in my experience and is great on a wide variety of wrists, thanks to a dome profile also on the rear side of the case. Set between mass-appealing 20mm lugs, the bracelet dial variant leans into a 5-link design style with a combination of brushed and polished finishes, with a surprise appearance of polished beveling on the link's edges on both the front and back, meaning this bracelet is supple on the wrist. Tapering to 18mm, the bracelet terminates with a push-button butterfly-style clasp, offering milled components inside and out. The leather strap is also solid, presenting a matte tan leather appearance with milled deploying clasp to mitigate wear. Now, moving into the case itself, this is an area that I think people are maybe not going to appreciate fully. Basically, what you have here is a case that just looks well beyond the price when you look at the details. First off, on the outside, you have a polished bezel, which is not going to be anything out of the norm. At 3, a T-sign push-pull crown manages setting duties, pairing with the screw-down case back and enabling this model family's adequate 50 meters of water resistance, simply fine for a dress watch of this style. But I think the case is absolutely one of the leading factors why this one is special. For one, beyond that polished bezel along the outside, you're getting brushed components on the front-facing surfaces of the lugs, then along the side of the case, vertical brushed case sides that look way beyond what the price point will indicate. And then underneath, there's basically a center facet on the side of the case that will then allow the polished underside to start to exhibit itself. The mixing of surface finishes on this case is quite well done for a watch under $1,000, and although it's not going to be as loud as potentially the PRX is in terms of its bracelet and showing off this, it is going to demonstrate again that Tissot is probably among the best at finishing cases in this sub $1,000 price range. Gazing through the sapphire crystal, which is more prominently domed in this new collection, you can see the dial that is going to have a great new reconstruction and reposition in terms of its styling. But one thing I will say about the crystal, and this is probably my #1 con with this watch, is depending on the dial color, you are going to get some reflections, as the anti-reflective coating being used here is not as effective as others that I've seen from the brand. So there are actually, in fact, 2 different design styles for the Chemin de Tourelles collection. You'll notice that they have more of the hobnail style or texturized pattern at the outskirts of the minute track and the hour indices on one of them. And then on the other, you'll have this more minimal design we have here, which is going to probably be my preference. In either color, the dial presents a striking sunray effect that is more pronounced on the blue dial variant. The dial surface is also domed, falling away from its center to really accentuate the printed minute track at the outskirts, while also falling in line with the curvature of the dome sapphire crystal above. The indices are applied, faceted, expected and generally are well done for the price. Nothing new from Tissot here, but I think my favorite thing that I'm looking at here that I think is a nice step up from the previous type of generation is going to be the handset. Now this handset is almost of a Dauphine spade style handset, which I think looks great. And a big reason for that is the facet that's running down the central surface of the hands themselves, and that is separating two different surface treatments. On one side you have polishing, on the other you have more of this blasted effect. This is something that you would typically see in higher end brands. Think of Vacheron with their Traditionnel collection utilizing something of this nature. So to see this in a watch that is much more attainable, and I mean much more attainable, is very nice to see. And again, as a reminder, this is two separate finishes on these small hands that I think many other brands won't bother going into the extra detail and time required to do this. Given that this leans more dressy, there is no luminescent material to speak of, and the dial itself presents a huge improvement over the previous generation in my opinion. And this being a Tissot, this new Chemin de Tourelles also provides an excellent Powermatic caliber in full view beneath the sapphire exhibition caseback on the flip side. So before we look at this caliber and how it generally operates, this is nothing new from the Powermatic family of calibers from Tissot, but there is a notable update in terms of the looks of this piece, one being the rotor. It now has more of a skeletonized and more, I would say, ornate type of design style, which looks good and I think is a nice step up from the previous versions. But this movement is known as the C07.111. What it is doing, it is taking an ETA base caliber and modifying the gear train and also going to modify the beat rates of the caliber to allow it to have 80 hours of power reserve, operating at 21,600 vibrations per hour or 3 hertz. This is essentially a class-leading movement in the price range in many ways in terms of its power reserve. You're also getting more of a free-sprung architecture for its balance assembly, which is going to be fine-tuned and regulated at the factory, which typically, when I've tested hundreds of Tissot watches to this point, is rather reliable and consistent. This version also offers a Nivacron hairspring that reduces the watch's overall susceptibility to magnetism. And we actually did test out these watches. We tested 2 of them out that we have featured here mostly throughout this video. A blue dial one running at 0 to +3 seconds a day across 5 positions, and then the white silver nearby at -1 to +4 seconds a day. Again, just unpacking its general specifications, we have a 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, 3 hertz, hacking and hand winding, hacking stop in the second hand when you pull the crown to the farthest position, and a power reserve of 80 hours. But now to unpack looking at this new Chemin de Tourelles collection. Now, first off, I think this is a collection that I hope is not lost on people. This is potentially the next pillar within Tissot's collection that I think can really take off. Will it take off to the same degree as the Gentleman and the PRX? Of course, it's not going to take off like the PRX. It's not leaning into the sporty elements and trends of the era today. But in terms of a no-nonsense watch, it absolutely delivers. And I think the special things of this piece are in the details. One challenge I think with this watch that I'll just mention is just the AR coating. Could be a little bit better. And then just its position within the Gentleman and the PRX. It is a different type of buyer that's going to be looking at this watch. But beyond that, I think what this watch is delivering is one of the best packages in attainable Swiss watches. The sizing is there at 39mm, which is going to wear the most compact of any Tissot watch that you are going to find within those collections outside, of course, of the smaller 35mm PRX watches. But if you want something that's a little bit more dressed up and has some more refinement to it, that is where this comes in, as the PRX, of course, is leaning into more of these integrated sports style and design. Finishing across the board of the case and the hands, I mentioned many of these aspects with the mixing of case finishes and techniques, and then also on those hands, the faceted markers. The design is much cleaner. You do have more of this minimalist approach, but with those hands, I think it really does work. And then the bracelet, also very nice. Is it on the same level as the PRX? No, but it's much better than the Gentleman's bracelet, and I think many people would probably like pairing it with the watch if they do decide to go in that direction. And otherwise, you have the flexibility of being able to pretty much put any strap with this watch. But all in all, this watch probably for me is going to be one of the recommendations I am going to make going forward if you're looking at Tissot. Of course, you have the PRX if you're looking for that integrated sports style with a bit more flash. The Gentleman is the cerebral option in many ways, kind of mixing both the sporty elements with the dressy elements. But if you want something that's a bit more casual, refined, and also very well finished across the board and can hang with those 2 others and maybe be the completion of that trio, this is where the Chemin de Tourelles comes in, a new leader in attainable Swiss watches, if I do say so myself. All right, guys, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. It's a great help, and I do appreciate it. Also, if you're in the market for the watch featured here, it is available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is an authorized dealer of all the brands that we carry, over 30, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. Also, how we're able to produce this content on the main channel especially. We don't charge the brands for content. How we're able to fund it is through selling watches on our site. So if you are in the market for a watch, we'd love to have your business. We know you can buy a watch anywhere, but again, we truly would love to have it. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.